Hi, this is Evelyn Olivares again. Welcome back to the next level of your introduction to the Leadership Evolves conference. This session is going to be about the critical levels of thinking. So I hope that you enjoy. It's only going to be a little 10-minute video or something like that, just to introduce you to it. So here we go. So the critical levels of thinking, there are actually four critical levels of thinking. As a leadership coach, I work with people all the time, and sometimes they have problems and they're kind of aware of or have an idea of what the problem is, but not always sure about the critical levels of thinking. Sometimes my primary role is to get them in touch with their thinking, into the deepest part of themselves, not just the conscious part, but the unconscious mind as well. Because if they could have done, for example, what they were supposed to do, then they'd already be doing it, correct? And that's what happens in the conscious mind, the conscious thinking. They would have already done it. So you see, they already would have taken the time, if they could, already, would have found what they needed to find. But they weren't able to do that right now. Yet, when they come to see me, one of the simplest things I need to do is to help them get in touch with the unconscious part of who they truly are. It reminds me of a conversation that I had a little while ago with one of my son's friends. It's quite some time back. We're talking about basketball now. I don't know very much about basketball at all, but what I do know is that it's a team sport. And basketball requires every member of the team to cooperate with each other. And I believe we need the same thing in business, and as I'm sure you do too. So we need the team to cooperate amongst themselves, and we need to increase the team's performance, and to have it, things working and them working at their best in order for them to win the game. So each member of the team must focus and really work together to ensure they fulfill their individual roles for the overall success of that team. Now, I'm not an expert, as I said to you before, about this, but I guess, like me, you've all heard of Michael Jordan, right? So when Michael didn't win any championships, he discovered and learned that he had to involve the members of his team, trusting them and appropriately distributing the ball to them, sharing the ball. So the next slide coming up is going to give us an introduction to the four critical levels of thinking. And this session is really, really good because the four levels of thinking, to me, is a really important structure to understand and appreciate, because it gives you the structure of how it is that you can sustainably continue to expand your comfort zone, how to continue on the path of growth without deviation. Anything. Another way of looking at it is like this: if this is a great structure, so how can you consistently achieve your desired outcomes? To me, this is something really, really important. I first heard this from Anthony Robbins. He mentioned it first of all. I have a great library, audio library and video library from many, many different amazing speakers, and Tony Robbins is just one of them. So the four levels of thinking is also known as the four levels of experience. You should look up the video actually from Anthony Robbins on the four levels of experience. It's an amazing video. It'll give you some more depth to what I'm talking about here. So this really is a structure of continual growth. Each of the four levels is made up of four components. And here, because you're watching this video, I'm going to explain each level in detail at the Leadership Evolves event for you. For now, you're just going to get an introduction to these levels. In my earlier video, I shared with you some of the three universal fears and the antidote to those fears. And part of that solution was to take action. You can recall that now. Now, many of you will be in sales, and I get that. And if not you're in sales, you know someone in sales. And some salespeople can really talk a good game, yeah? Or at least they think that they can talk a good game. They say the right things. They tell others about their amazing ideas for lead generation and how many sales they're going to make this month. And yet when it comes down to it, they take no action. And they don't get the results they were bragging about. Taking action is another key element to your success. You've got to get on with action. You've got to keep selling. The more time you invest in prospecting and selling, the more results and money you're going to make. So here we go, the 4 levels of thinking. As you take action every day, you can't fail to realize that you're steadily moving towards your goals. And this can only fill you with growing enthusiasm, correct? And the belief that at long last, you will achieve your goal, whatever it is, whatever your goals might be. If you don't take daily action, you leave a vacuum for doubt to creep in. And you know, that doubt, you know, it's like it'll puncture holes in your tires of your Porsche before you realize it. You also leave an empty space in your life, which soon is filled by other priorities. Let me summarize this very quickly for you. Level 1 is doing what feels good. It's good for me, it's good for the others, and it's good for the greater good. This is your established skill set. This is what you're already good at. And the quality of your career is determined by how many level 1 experiences you can collect. And that is determined by how many level 2 experiences you expose yourself to. Exposing yourself to level 2 experiences is unfamiliar. Exposing yourself to these new things, to different ways of thinking, to different ways of selling. So, and the reason why you would immerse yourself in level 2 is because it's the driver behind you reaching your goals, your outcomes, your reason, and your why for being at work. Level 2 is doing what does not feel good, at least not initially. However, it is good for you, it's good for others, and it's good for the greater good. All progress, no matter what it is, all growth is immersed in level 2 thinking. If you don't do level 2 experiences, you will live and die a slow death, literally, guaranteed. So level 3 is when you do actions based on how you feel. Because level 3 is doing what feels good. It's not good for me. It's not good for others. And it's not good for the greater good. So these are the actions that are easy. They're comfortable. They're familiar to us. It gives you short-term pleasure, but involves long-term pain. And a great example of this is self-sabotage, procrastination. And if you remember in an earlier video, we discussed self-sabotage. It's an action that's performed by people because they don't have a clear enough why. Why do you do what you do? Why are you in this role? Why are you in this job? Why are you in this relationship? Why? What does it give you? Well, how does it benefit you? Do you remember the story I gave you about busting to go to the loo? But most people busting are between level 1 and level 3. Not a good place to be. And of course, this level 4, we were talking about before, this is a level with all the negatives. It doesn't feel good. It's not good for me. It's not good for others. And it's certainly not good for the greater good. And when someone starts to bounce between levels 3 and level 4, when someone is immersed in level 4, this is when it starts to mean, well, you know what? They're looking to quit the business. And if it's not the business, it's the career or the relationship perhaps, because you don't want to be in a place that doesn't feel good. And this is what happened to those 10,000 agents. Remember the financial review report I was telling you about before? Those 10,000 agents bailed out of the real estate industry in 2010. It was the worst time in record for the industry. So they bailed out, and they bailed out because it doesn't feel good. You know, they were in a time when for them, but it wasn't feeling good. It's not good for others, and it's not good for the greater good. So what happens is we, as I said before, we tend to bounce. If we're bouncing between 1 and 3, we're going to have more 3 experiences than what we do have 1 experiences. So we really don't want to go there at all. So with the current slide you have at the moment, I'd like you to spend some time, look up the Anthony Robbins video that I was talking to you about before, because Anthony Robbins video is it's a great in-depth introduction to how he came up with the 4 crucial levels of behavior. Ultimately, this is an experience. This is an experience where all progress, or more accurately, where all perception and growth are missing, where there's no progress or growth to be had anymore. That's the perception of the individual, and there's a lack of interest in their work. So when I see you at Leadership Evolves event, I'll unpack this in great detail for you. In the meantime, think of it this way. The quality of your life is determined by how many level 1 experiences we're able to collect. For level 1 experience to be experienced, earned, and be part of our lives, it's something that we have to pay dues for. In any form of our life, whether that be in spiritual domain, finance, relationship, emotional domain, whichever domain you choose, the quality of that relationship, of our finances, of our business, of our mental thinking, our psychology, all of these are pretty much coming from the dues that we have paid to arrive at where we are today. It's part of life. It is part of the way that we live and grow. If you're in a relationship that's going well, it's because you have paid your dues. In some way, you've paid your dues in order to get where you are in your relationship. So remember, whether you're talking about, elite athletes or you're talking about business, understanding the levels of thinking allows us to easily move from the apprenticeship stage to technician pretty quickly. In any new trade, in any new craft, in any new skill set, we are moving to technician pretty quickly. The way that we move from apprentice to technician is by putting in some hours. We're paying our dues, wading through what we need to do, wading through deep, murky water and other stuff at times. In any business, no matter what you sell, you start at the beginning with the entree, correct? You're moving pretty much into the technical world of your business relationship only when you have paid your dues. As a technician of your craft, you're still learning the works, you're still paying your dues, and you are a technician for a long time. So what's a long time? Well, how long is a piece of string? Depends on the industry, depends on the individual. But what you spend a favorable time in technician, you'll do that until you get to the next stage, which is to be earned. And that's the stage of mastery. Often, clients ask me, I have, more recently, there's a client asked me, Evelyn, tell me about the journey and how you were doing this amazing training. How did you get into coaching? Is it as simple as just following the steps to get into mastery? Well, the answer is yes and no, because it's not always easy, right? There are dark tunnels that we need to pass through in order to earn the right to claim mastery. But to claim mastery, I don't mean that we are standing in front of a room calling yourselves masters. No, I don't mean that at all. Mastery is something that we achieve through skills, through learning, through growth. The magicianship that we produce or introduce into our skill set. So what we have covered so far is simply an intro to the levels of mastery. In the upcoming training, I'll be sharing with you many important concepts and strategies to make it quite clear for you. So for now, have a nice day or evening, wherever you're doing right now, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Ciao for now.